friends, it's Lori with Main Street Gardener and welcome to my garden. Today I am finally planting a hedge along these two border beds. I have talked about this project for quite a while and I actually decided, sometimes it's good to have some space to think about something. When I decided to do the hedge and made room for it, I was very eager to go out and find something evergreen. But I began to do some more research and several of you shared ideas as well. So what I've decided to do is actually not an evergreen, it's an alternative hedge that's going to provide full summer color, pretty easy to maintain, and I think it's just going to be stunning. So the reason I decided to go with an alternative hedge, and I'm going to tell you the plants in just a minute, I decided it for a couple reasons. One, I have a very small garden. These garden beds are very small and these are my full sun spaces. I really just have two of them and my driveway garden. And I like to maximize all the color, all the texture that I can. And I just didn't want to give up this real estate with just evergreen. I also had an opportunity to go get some plants from a wholesale grower that's about an hour from me, and these plants are absolutely gorgeous. So what I've decided to go with is a Walker's Low catmint or Nepeta. So Nepeta I have all over my garden. This one gets a little bit taller. It spreads about 24 inches, gets about 20 high, and it has these incredible blue purple blooms. This one's actually trying to bloom again, and it's October. Let's see if the camera will focus. There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? So it will be covered in those. The Walker's Low is considered the longest blooming Nepeta. So I did some research. It will get, again, about 20 inches, spreads 24. It will stay pretty thick, pretty tall, doesn't flop. Now these have been, of course, in their cans for a while, but it blooms nonstop from, probably May all the way through fall. They do recommend a midsummer shear back, so I'll just have to come in and kind of shear them back, which I have to shear a lot of things back as we do in the garden in midsummer. So I am super excited about this. I was able to get 10 for each side, which is plenty. I'm going to plant them about a foot apart, so they are going to be a thick, nice hedge, which is going to be great. Now I'm going to anchor this space with a sting arborvitae. These are the stings. It's a gorgeous arborvitae. Now what I love about these is it is going to stay about 2 feet wide and it's going to get tall. I think these can get like 15. Let me show you the tag. These get 15 to 20 feet tall and only about 1.5 to 2 feet wide. So the reason I love this, I have one right over here, is it's going to give some structure to this space. So what I'm envisioning is it frames the garden. So I'll have this sting here, I have a sting back here, and then I have my tree, Rose of Sharon, a viburnum. So it's kind of giving almost 4 points of interest. It will also be evergreen. I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. So again, I'll have the sting, there's the magnolia, the 2 trees, my trellis. It's just providing some height. So I'm really excited about that. So that's going to be this long border. So again, I've got 20 of these to get planted today. Let me show you the tag for the Walker's Low. This is a catmint that you should be able to find anywhere. Walker's Low, and there's the back. Now what I decided to do in the front is another alternative hedge. And this is going to be using phenomenal lavender. So phenomenal lavender is known as, it gets a little taller, so about 24 inches. It is the hardiest winter lavender. So it's super hardy. It also does not mind heat and humidity. So if you live on the East Coast, anywhere where there's humidity or even towards the central part of the US, this one is actually recommended over sensational. Now I grow sensational, it does okay. I've had to replace some, but this is supposed to withstand heat and humidity, and it's also supposed to be super winter hardy. It's going to have, of course, those taller, gorgeous blue spikes all summer long. It will also take a shear back in the summer, and what I'm going to do is plant it kind of higher up along this edge. I think it's going to be beautiful. So that'll kind of be framed with a blue. This bed will have kind of that blue border around it. And then there's lots of pinks and chartreuse greens and whites all filled in the center of this garden bed. All right, it's going to be a busy morning. We got out here early because it's going to get warm today, but it's crisp this morning. So we're going to get started. I'll bring you along and then I'll show you the final outcome. I'm really excited. Okay, so we got all the holes dug. We measured about a foot or one of my feet from the edge of the grass. My husband did edge it first, which will be helpful once we get it all cleaned up. So it's messier to use the auger, but it's so much quicker. This was 50 holes and it probably didn't even take 15 minutes. We've got the sting arborvitae on the corner and we did measure it the same distance in. And then we were only able to put 4 lavender here. I want them to have space to grow. These do get larger than the smaller type of lavender. So I think this will be perfect. And then when you come over here, you can see, I think this corner is just going to be beautiful. And then we've got all this Walker Low Nepeta. It's going to be pretty straight. This just, of course, grows really soft. You're not going to notice any difference, but we did make sure it's the same foot away from the edge of the grass, and we tried to make sure they were lined up across. So if I come over, they should be, yeah, pretty lined up across. It's hard to tell with the camera that I'm using right now, but we did try to line them up. We also lined up the sting arborvitae. And then you can see we have 5 lavender over here because this garden bed is larger. The sun is getting ready to come out, so I am going to get super busy getting all these in the ground before I have full sun on my back for the day. So I'm going to start on I think I'm going to start over here where the sun is getting ready to hit, and we'll get this area done and then we'll move over. Then we're going to get it all mulched, watered in. We do need to run drip to it. And this space will be ready for next season. Hi, friends. Well, it is obviously the next morning. I decided to come out this morning when I was fresh and not a sweaty, covered in dirt mess. And also, I wanted better light to show you this garden space. So it's about to be in full sun, but I wanted to get out here early so you could see the hedging that we did in this garden. So we planted over 60 plants yesterday. Thank goodness for loose soil and an auger. And we got it added, drip added, and mulched. So really excited. It was a full gardening day, but such a relief to get this project done. So let me turn around and I'll walk you through the beautiful new alternative hedging. Okay, so as you enter the garden and you walk in, just imagine a sea of blue flowers lining these flower beds, kind of bluish purple. Now, we did try to get these lined up as straight and as spaced as possible, but they are loose plants. They're not like a boxwood hedge, so they're not going to look absolutely perfect. My husband also edged the space. We do not have edge right or anything in this area. He just edges it. It's just kind of left natural. We don't have an issue with the mulch running into the grass, so it works out just fine. Now we did stop the hedge here because I only had 10 plants, but I am going to get one or two more. I think I can fit two more. Now right now, this lamb's ear got kind of messed up with a lot of rain, so it's looking a little rough, but it will come back out of it. So it will fill in, but I do want to get at least two more of the Walker Low Napata. So we will put that on the list. So as you come down, you can just see how it's going to just kind of nicely frame this garden space. And as I talked about, if I can find the small shrubs at a good price that I'm wanting, I may come in and remove some of this grass. This area is hard. It's not on irrigation, and the grass is not, it's not necessary right here, so we may move it at some point. So as you come around, you can see we've got the sting arborvitae right here, which is going to grow nice and tall. And again, I think it's going to be just beautiful to have that like 15 feet up. And then you see we have our magnolia tree, and then we have the junipers over here. So I think it's going to really frame this bed, but with some evergreen interest, but then allow the flowers and the summer interest along this edge. I also want to fill this edge with tulips and alliums and just kind of make it almost a bulb border in the spring also. And so then in the front, I've actually got lots of space. I planted the lavender a little higher up in the bed, and you can see the baby lavender. Now this lavender gets pretty tall and it will fill in the width. So I space them appropriately so that I can get some nice height and width. And I think it'll just be a beautiful soft border in front of the hydrangeas, two hydrangeas there. This will be where the Harlow Carr rose is that we planted. And then one other thing that we did is this is another sting arborvitae. So the Harlow Carr rose will just fill this entire space, kind of where even these yellow flowers are. These are just a fall type aster, and they flopped due to a rainstorm. Next year, I'll definitely tie them up. But I wanted this sting arborvitae here. It's only 1.5 feet wide. It's going to, again, get 20 feet tall. I think that it's a great balance with the rest of the garden space. We have the sting here, but then if you look right over, there is another, that one's actually a Thin Man, but it is very similar to the sting. So we decided to plant the sting directly across, and these grow really, really fast. So it's just going to give some nice framing to the garden and then allow me to have this beautiful alternative hedge with the lavender and the nepeta. So I am really excited. This space has been a full year transformation. Last year this time it was raised beds. I took them out and I've just been slowly adapting and adjusting the space, and I am just loving it. You can see the sun is coming up. We're getting a shadow. All right, let me show you the other side, which is still in the shade. So this side, you can see exactly the same. So we've got the sting arborvitae, and we're gonna order some lower post for our lights, just so they go down a little bit lower in the ground. But these are the, I think they're by Nest, and they're automatic solar lights. But you can see the sting there, which will be nicely framed. When it gets to its size, it's not perfect. Well, it's almost centered with the other one. So it'll come down. It's going to fill out nicely. And then we have this gorgeous hedge. Now this side was a little tighter and I wasn't ready to pull back the grass just yet, but I think it will be amazing. For some reason, my butterfly bush is leaning. I don't know if it's been trying to reach for more sun. As soon as it goes dormant, I'm gonna check it out. And I think for next year, I'm gonna make a note to keep some of the front trimmed back. I don't want it overlapping this much. It is a gorgeous cascading pink butterfly bush, but you can see it's a little lopsided. And I'm thinking maybe the back's not getting enough sun because there's a viburnum back there. But regardless, I'm gonna kind of shape it a little bit up so that I can have all this gorgeous nepeta. And there's a couple plants in this bed that I am still going to move out. And again, I really at least need 2 more of the nepeta. So I have some daylilies, there's a grass back there, and during the thick of summer, you just don't see those plants. I'm actually gonna move those out and probably kind of move around some of this lamb's ear. So a little bit more to do, but I'm gonna wait until winter, early spring, when the butterfly bush is dormant, and I can actually kind of see what I'm working with. But I love this alternative hedge. I love the sting arborvitaes on the ends. Those are absolutely one of my favorite evergreen because it just stays so thin. And I think that it's just going to be really beautiful. Now the grass in this space got hit by a fungus. We still have a patch right there. So what I'm gonna be doing, we've got one more hot day in the 80s, then it's gonna cool down. We even had the fungus hit in between our sidewalks. So I'm gonna come in and kind of scratch this area up, scratch these patch areas, and I've got some rapid seed that I'm gonna put down. I'm waiting for it to be a little cooler, and we'll keep it watered in to see if we can get some grass. So I think that's gonna do it for today. If you're considering adding a border to a garden space, and if you have a small garden like me, and unless you just love boxwoods and want to deal with boxwoods, I would consider something alternative. There are so many gorgeous options. There are lots of lower growing plants. You could do salvias, you could do daylilies, lavender, of course. Nepeta is great. I just visited a garden that had feather grass and hardy geraniums as a hedge. It was beautiful. So especially if you live in a drier, hotter climate, I love Mexican feathergrass. So there's so many options that can give texture and color that really add to a small garden space. So I'm excited to try this. It's an experiment. We'll see how it goes, but I think hopefully it's going to turn out beautiful, and I will bring you along next year to show it to you in full bloom. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Please click like, subscribe. I would be so glad to have your comments and you as part of our community. All right, see you soon. Bye.